When they first met, it felt like the world had suddenly slowed down, as if time itself wanted to witness the moment two lives collided, two strangers who knew nothing about each other but somehow sensed everything that mattered in a single glance, and from that day onward their hearts began to write a story that neither of them could have predicted. A story filled with tenderness, laughter, struggles, dreams, and above all a love that was fragile yet unshakable, a love that would one day teach them the harshest truth of life, that time doesn't come back, no matter how much you beg for it, no matter how hard you pray, no matter how deeply you regret, it always keeps moving forward and leaves behind only memories, and their journey together would become a reminder of that lesson not just for themselves but for anyone who heard their story, because when you look at them you realize how easy it is to take love for granted and how devastating it feels when the hours you thought you had forever suddenly run out. But let me take you back to the very beginning. When he first walked into that small cafe on a rainy afternoon, his jacket soaked at the edges, his hair a little messy from the wind, and he stood there scanning the crowded place, frustrated because every table was taken, until his eyes landed on her sitting by the window with a book in her hands and an empty chair across from her. And though he hesitated, something inside him pushed him forward, and with the most polite voice he could manage he asked if she would mind sharing her table, and she looked up, her eyes calm but curious, and with a small smile she nodded, and in that moment something shifted, something that neither of them could name, because sometimes love doesn't announce itself with fireworks, it arrives quietly, like a song you don't realize you've memorized until the melody refuses to leave your head, and from that first conversation, awkward but genuine, they felt as though they had known each other in some other lifetime, and days later he found himself going back to that cafe again and again, hoping to see her, and soon it wasn't chance anymore because she too kept showing up, both of them slowly weaving a pattern they didn't even realize was turning into the fabric of a shared life, and months turned into years as they moved from strangers to companions, from companions to lovers, from lovers to partners who promised each other forever, standing in front of family and friends with tears in their eyes, vowing to stay together through every storm, and for a while, forever felt real, it felt possible, because in those early years their love was alive in every corner of their lives, in the way they cooked together in a small kitchen, laughing when smoke filled the air because he always forgot to lower the flame, in the way she left small notes in his pockets before he went to work, in the way they sat on the balcony late at night whispering dreams about traveling the world, raising children, and growing old together. And yet, as time moved forward, as responsibilities grew heavier, as careers demanded longer hours, as bills piled up and life became a series of tasks to complete, something subtle began to change, something they didn't notice at first, because routine has a way of dulling even the brightest flames, and slowly the laughter became less frequent, the conversations shorter, the dreams postponed for later, always later, because they thought there would always be more time, but time is cruel in its honesty, it gives but never returns, and so they kept moving forward, telling themselves they were fine, but inside both felt the distance growing, even if neither wanted to admit it, until the arguments began, small at first, about unwashed dishes or forgotten errands, but soon deeper, about how they barely saw each other anymore, about how their love no longer felt like love but an obligation, and though they both still cared, neither could find the right words to bridge the silence that followed, and yet in their quietest moments they still remembered the beginning, they still remembered the feeling of sitting across from each other in that cafe, eyes meeting like destiny had brought them together, but memory alone wasn't enough to fix the present, and they kept waiting for a better time, a perfect moment to say the things that mattered, not realizing that the clock was ticking faster than they thought, until one morning he woke up to find her gone, not just from the bed but from the world itself, taken suddenly by an accident that no one could have predicted, a single cruel twist of fate that shattered everything they had built, and in that instant his life became a storm of regret, every unspoken word crashing down on him, every postponed dream mocking him, every small fight reminding him of the love he had wasted time not expressing, and in the silence of their home he realized that he would never again hear her laugh echo through the rooms, never again feel her hand slip into his as they walked, never again wake to the sight of her sleeping peacefully beside him, and though friends and family tried to comfort him, though they told him she had known he loved her, nothing silenced the ache inside his chest, the ache of knowing that love should have been louder, braver, more present, because now it was too late, and late is a word that time never forgives, and for years he lived with that burden, carrying it like a shadow everywhere he went, until one day as he sat once again in that same cafe where it all began, watching strangers come and go, he realized that maybe their story wasn't just his punishment, maybe it was also a lesson that needed to be told, that love must be lived in the present, that apologies should not wait for tomorrow, that dreams should not be postponed until the perfect time, because perfection never comes, only the ticking of the clock. And so he began writing, pouring their memories onto paper, telling the world about the girl who had once smiled at a stranger and changed his life, telling them about the joy, the routine, the distance, the regrets, and above all the truth that time doesn't come back. And people listened, people read his words and wept, people saw themselves in his story and went home to hold their loved ones tighter, to speak the words they had been holding in, to live as though every moment could be the last, because in truth it could. And in that way, though she was gone, her life still touched others, her love still moved hearts, and maybe that was the closest thing to forever that time would allow. Not the endless hours they had dreamed of, but the ripples of their story reaching others, reminding them that life is short, love is fragile, and every second is priceless. And he carried on with that thought, still broken, still missing her every day, but no longer trapped in silence, because he had finally understood what it means to love in the face of time, to honor her not with regret but with the courage to keep reminding others before it's too late. And as the years passed, though his hair turned gray and his body grew weak, though he sat more often by the window with tired eyes, he felt her presence in the smallest things, in the scent of rain, in the pages of a book, in the laughter of young couples passing by. And when his own time finally ran out, people said he left with a smile, as if in his last moment he finally saw her again, waiting for him by the window of that old cafe, smiling the way she did when their story first began. And maybe, just maybe, in a place beyond time, they finally got the forever they were promised. But for us who are still here, their story remains a reminder to live fully, to love loudly, and to never forget that once a moment slips away, it never comes back, because time doesn't return, it only teaches. And if we listen, if we act, if we cherish, then perhaps we won't look back with regret but with gratitude, knowing we truly lived the love we were given while it was here.